May heavenly blessing of the fourth Sunday in ordinary time be upon each and every one of you. At an afternoon tea for officers and their wives, the commanding general of the base delivered a long, boring speech. A young second lieutenant grumbled to a woman at his table, "What a pompous old wingback that love is." The woman turned to him, her face red with rage, and said, "Lieutenant, do you know who I am?" The lieutenant said, "No, ma'am." The lady said, "I am the wife of the man you just call a pompous old windbag." The young lieutenant looked the woman in the eye, steadfast and unmoved. "And do you know who I am?" The children's wife said, "No, I don't." The lieutenant grinned and said, "That's what I was hoping, thanks God." And he disappeared into the crowd. In today's gospel, Jesus taught in the synagogue in Nazareth, the town where he had been brought up. The hometown people thought they knew the orator was, who the orator was, but in fact, they knew nothing about the person of Jesus. Like all other Jews, they lived in expectation of finding that one good man, the Messiah, the anointed one, who would liberate them from bondage. But they had constructed their own model of what he would be like and the kind of example and leadership he would provide. Consequently, as Jesus continued to talk, they realized that he was trying to break down their preconceived notions of the mortal Messiah, and they stopped praising him. Moreover, in loose words, they sprang to their feet and hustled him out of town, and they took him to a brow of the hill their town was built on, intending to throw him down the cliff. Jesus' synagogue audience thought they knew a lot about him. At first, they spoke highly of him and were amazed at the crazy words that came from his mouth. But then he spoke some words that they considered to be utterly absurd. So absurd that they were all filled with fury. What enraged them so was his telling them that God's gracious benevolence extends to all the people, all the persons, to people of all the nations and all the religions, even to people whom they regard as enemies. The lesson for us is to guard against trying to keep for ourselves alone the gifts and privileges and graces we receive from God. We must guard against shifting in our seats. We must guard against raising our eyebrows. We must guard against feeling threatened when we are reminded of our Christian mission of loving service to others. We must guard against acting as though our only concern as the Christian community is our own survival, our own needs, our own spiritual, emotional, and physical nourishment. We must prepare for rejection we may experience as did Jesus in his native place. We must be willing to live in accordance with Jesus' teaching that God does not play favorites. Sometimes people are unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Love them anyway. Sometimes people will accuse you of selfish motives. Do good anyway. Sometimes honesty and frankness make you vulnerable. Be honest anyway. Sometimes people who really need help will turn against you after you help them. Help them anyway. Sometimes when you give the world the best that is in you, but you are not appreciated, give the best that is in you anyway. Love one another. Love your enemies. Forgive one another. Do not judge one another. If you are bringing your offering to the altar and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your offering before the altar and go and be reconciled with your brother first, and then come back and present your offerings. Sound absurd, doesn't it? Yes, that is what Jesus said.